Good morning. Good morning and welcome to another summer service here at All Souls, New London, and of course, more broadly, further afield than we ever imagined possible. My name is Reverend Carolyn Paterno, and I'm the Senior Minister at All Souls, and I am joined this morning by Maria Bareiss, who is our guest preacher this morning. We're so happy to have you with us, Maria. Jesse Edwards is our technical director. Tammy Barber created the beautiful images that you will enjoy throughout the service. Gary Elliott is our musician, and we will be joined by other guests throughout the course of the service. And so welcome. No matter where you are beaming in from, you are a beam of light in this circle. We are so glad that you are here, escaping perhaps from the heat of this week and cooling off your spirit, your mind, your heart in this sacred time that we create and share together. Welcome to All Souls, where all souls are welcome. You are joyfully called to worship. I invite you to sing out from where you are and join Bob Bunting in singing the hymn, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. Thank you, Bob.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Each week, we light our chalice, the symbol of our faith. Please join our chalice lighter in these words.
Never be limited by another person's limited imagination.
Thank you to the Berrigan, Sheehan, Gomer family.
Thank you all. Each week we light a candle of gratitude to stay in at least the weekly discipline. I hope it's more often for more of us, of giving thanks, of gratitude. And so this morning I offer this poem by Harriet Kofalk, who writes, "Awakening in a moment of peace, I give thanks to the source of all peace. As I set forth into the day, the birds sing with new voices, and I listen with new ears and give thanks. My feet touch the grass, still wet with dew, and I give thanks both to my Mother Earth for sustaining my steps and to the seas cycling once again to bring forth new life. You can see forever when the vision is clear in this moment. Each moment, I give thanks." The reading this morning is entitled How to Be You by Jeffrey Marsh. It begins. Sorry, perfection doesn't exist. Whoever taught you what it means to be perfect was making it up. Whoever taught them was making it up too. Perfection is a phony concept. It's a phony set of standards. Where did the standards come from? How did they start? You can't always be sure where your ideas about how you should be came from. But one thing to notice is that perfection often has a shifting definition. Over time, we as a society change our standards. And yes, over time, you as an individual change your ideas about how to be perfect. What you think is the perfect person thing to do now may change in 5 years. It may change in 5 minutes. Perfect is a shifting, unclear, unreliable set of standards. Because of this, you will never meet the fake standards of perfection. And this is awesome news. As soon as you give up the quest to be perfect according to some outside standards, you can start being you. Holy wow. I think that's so important. I need to say it again. As soon as you give up the quest to be perfect according to some outside standard, you can start being you. So ends the reading.
Hi, all y'all. I can say that because I learned to speak in South Carolina. And as a bonus, it's a gender neutral greeting too. When Reverend Carolyn mentioned adult coloring books and her opinions about coloring pencils, I started an email to ask her, and it grew and it grew. Friend to friend, I wrote, I would like to hear your opinions on colored pencils and their use. While I'm sure that I have better ones somewhere, right now I'm just using my Crayolas. My Crayola colored pencils, to be sure. I'm not a barbarian. I'm kidding, I kid. As a Unitarian Universalist, I honor the tools of every person who colors. I digressed from there, and here's what came up for me. I actually do love my Crayola crayons to do freestyle things. And Rob, my husband, just got me 2 coloring books that have titles that are more mature in nature. And while they have pretty animals in the backgrounds, and they also make some declarations in strong languages like, I don't care. They were delivered literally a couple of days before I wrote this email. But I have other books that are more about geometry, nature, that kind of thing. And one, seriously, has Jason Momoa in it. It's pretty fun. But I find coloring meditative in the way that people describe knitting and crocheting, and I am unskilled in the ways of the fabric arts. No, it's worse than that. I broke 3 professional machines trying to learn how to sew in a shop. I was told to stay away from her machines after that. So back to coloring books. I use them to relax or to stimulate creativity. And usually that's a simultaneous thing that happens. I've always found coloring to be fun. When I was a kid, I would add plates to dinosaurs that I felt had been cheated out of the right armor. And I would add features to boring pictures. I think I would have been scolded at the regular school I would later attend in 3rd grade. I used to color humans with different outlandish skin color and hair color with no pushback from my parents. My parents didn't seem to mind that I refused to use the traditional color schemes or stay inside the lines if I chose otherwise. They liked that I drew whatever I wanted. In 1st or 2nd grade, in our art class, our teacher, who I thought was so awesome, asked us to draw an animal using photos from magazines to inspire us. She asked us to sign our work only on the back. She was going to have an art gallery for our parents, and they would try to find our work. I was very excited for my parents to find my work, and I didn't have any doubts that they would find it right away. I was glad my parents were finally going to see my work outside of coloring books. I vividly remember my parents dressing up to go to the open house. I couldn't wait to hear what they said. My mom has said, for as long as I can remember, Maria's not just marching to a different drummer. She's on another planet, in another galaxy. Maybe it was my undiagnosed ADHD brain, but I like to think that it was also because I was allowed by my parents to be me. I became wholly unafraid to be imperfect. And maybe that's why I like improv comedy and playing ukulele. Who expects perfection? Nobody. Now, as an aside, for today's musical reflection, I did record 4 parts with harmonies for teach your children, but the app refused to cooperate. So you get to see just 1/4 of what I recorded. I recorded it over 100 times. So I gave up after that, and you have maybe what's an imperfect recording now, but I love it. So I didn't know why my parents were consistently glad that I was weird and insisted that being a weirdo was fine as long as I did well in school and I wasn't a jerk to anyone. I was schooled on being kind to people with physical, intellectual, or language barriers. My parents were champions of accepting people from all backgrounds. I was raised, I like to joke, by the United Nations. With my Navy brat status, I had in my life family or close friends who were Mexican, Irish, Black, Jewish, Native American, Asian. The list would go on and on. There were always different kinds of kids and adults around. And my mom made it a point to introduce me to her gay friend, who I still see in the area today. And when we were in San Francisco, I remember seeing 2 women holding hands, and I was about 9 or 10, and I said, "Those women are holding hands, Captain Obvious." My parents said, "Yeah." And that was the whole discussion. I thought, oh, okay, I guess that's normal here. I come from 2 American young adults who met when my dad was at a bar called Mr. Lucky's. He was 22, handsome, and was on leave in Phoenix, Arizona. And the story goes, in my mother's words, that my dad crossed the room to get in line to dance with that pretty girl, her sister, her little sister. Luckily, she was whisked away and my dad danced with my mom, and that was it. They were coloring outside the lines when they first met and fell in love. My 20-year-old mom, she was 20 the day that they met. With her dark brown skin and my 22-year-old divorced sailor, father of a young boy, got married quickly. He was going to be shipped back east, 3,000 miles away. And my dad said that the Navy said they'd keep him out of Vietnam, so he joined up. And when he was on leave and he met my mom, they scooped each other up and moved out to the East Coast. Well, now my parents are back in the 70s and they're at the open house and they're looking around in the art room and they're looking around and they're looking around, and they found a purple cubist fox. And they knew that was mine. It was easy. I had learned the rules about what foxes were usually expected to look like and had drawn just enough to make it resemble a fox, but a cool Maria fox. I was a kid and I had already mastered what Pablo Picasso's ideal said: learn the rules like a pro so you can break them like an artist. When Pablo Picasso drew Guernica, if you look at the picture, it looks like a jumbled mess that a child could have drawn. But in context, it's a powerful statement against war. I think it's a great example of breaking the rules with great mindfulness. With some art and with some people, context matters. The message might be deeper than the superficial appearance. I hope that describes me. I wear my rainbow gear, colorful eyeshadow, my wildly colored hair, my chalice tattoo, to tell you that I'm approachable, I'm weird, and I'm comfortable with it. I hope you're comfortable in your skin too. We all have inherent worth and dignity. So be you, colorful or not. Remember what Jeffrey Marsh said: as soon as you give up on the quest to be perfect, according to some outside standard, you can start being you. Start today. Namaste. Blessed be. Amen.
The musical meditation, as Maria said. Maria, thank you. Thank you so much for that reflection. So good. So good. And Maria is sharing with us her interpretation of teach your children well, as she was so taught by her mother and father, now of blessed memory, her father. So let us enjoy this perfectly imperfect interpretation from Maria. Thank you for working so hard on it, Maria. Thank you.
You who are on the road must have a code that you can live by, and so become yourself, because the past is just a goodbye. Teach your children well. The father's help did slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the ones they fix, the ones you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry. Just look at them and sigh, and know they love you. And you are the tender years, can't know the fears that your elders grew by. And please help them with their youth. They seek the truth before they can die. Teach your parents well. Their children's hell will slowly go by, and feed them on your dreams, the ones they fix, the ones you know by. Don't you ever ask them why. If they told you, you would cry, cry. So just look at them and sigh, and know they love you.
Thank you, Maria. That was perfect. It was perfect. Let me be the first to say, even though I know perfect was not your goal, I appreciate all the work you put into that, and you're sharing your gifts. Thank you for everything. Thanks for brightening up a room every time you walk into it, Maria, more than anything. And so we turn our attention to each other. We do so every week, again, as a practice, as is gratitude, because as a congregation, as a community striving to be beloved community, in Dr. King's words, we commit to paying attention to each other's lives, the joy and the sorrow, both. This is how we knit together the tapestry of community. There are two ways that you may participate in creating and sustaining beloved community week by week. One is to write in via email to belovedcommunity@allsouls.net, that which you would like to be shared out loud when we join together. And the other is to, as you will be invited to do in a moment, write the joy and concern that you would like for us to witness into the YouTube chat. And so Maria and I will now light candles of intention and hold for a moment to give you a chance to do just that. Amen. There are a couple of things to share as we enter into communion of meditation and prayer. One is that our beloved Rob Madeira married last week as we are speaking. He married his wonderful, wonderful fiancée, Ryan. I know that you join me in wishing both of them much joy and happiness as they begin this chapter of their lives. Mazel tov to both of you. As well, on the other side of the circle of life, in the past 2 weeks, we have gathered as a community to mourn the death and celebrate the lives of Barbara Brockhurst and of Charlie Kroll. I just want to share with those of you who were either not present or streaming in for those services, what a joy it was, a bittersweet joy, to be gathered in Unity Hall, to do what we do as a congregation, to do what we do as church, and that is to mark these rites of passage. And it was marked beautifully, even though the adjustments that we made were, were necessary. We still were grateful to be in the room together. We will continuing to make these adjustments as we modify our risk or level of risk and try to keep ourselves safe. But both of these souls were honored in person in ways that were deeply moving. So here's to Barbara and Charlie. I invite you into a communion of meditation and prayer as we gather up in beloved community. Spirit of life and of love, in all of the ways that you are known and named and intuited. We give thanks for all the colors of the world, for the ways, the many ways that we may express ourselves, sometimes within and sometimes beyond the lines. Help us to keep at bay any temptation that leads us toward perfection. Help us to calm our minds and hearts, knowing that it is a pursuit that is useless. May we use our energy, our joy to create beauty that is loving and kind to others and to ourselves. May we teach our children well so that they may in turn turn kindness into a world that so needs it. We give thanks for this day, for all that it will bring, as we say, blessed be and amen. Amen. Amen, amen. We will join our voices in singing Trees of the Fields. Those of you who have worshiped in Unity Hall know that this is the song that we sing as the children and youth go to their faith formation classes. We sing with tambourine and we sing with joy. And so I know that you will join our children in singing this morning.
You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. And you go out with joy. You shall go out with joy and be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills will break forth before you. There'll be shouts of joy, and all the trees of the field will clap their hands. And all the trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. The trees of the field will clap their hands. Will you go out with joy?
Thank you all so much for leading us in that joyful song. Please join in speaking our chalice light extinguishing words.
Our service has ended, but our work is not yet done. May our spirits be renewed and our purpose resolved as we meet the challenges of the week. Our chalice flame is extinguished until once again igniting the strength of our communion.
Go forth and march to the beat that makes you thrive. Sing your own kind of music. Color outside the lines when you need to. We will meet again to celebrate with great joy. Amen, blessed be, and namaste.
Amen. Amen. Maria, thank you so much. Thank you so much for putting yourself out there to offer that beautiful reflection. Thank you. Okay, there are a couple of announcements before the beautiful postlude, which of course, what else would it be but sing your own kind of music? So stay tuned for Gary playing that. There are two announcements. One, just a reminder, we are so grateful for your financial support. You may do that in all the ways that you have been so faithfully doing so in this pandemic time. So thank you for that, and don't forget to keep supporting. Thank you. And second, next week is Pride here in New London at Ocean Beach, and All Souls every year has we table at Ocean Beach. There are slots available for volunteering. Look at your weekly news, and there is a sign up genius. It's really easy to do for the 1 hour shifts at Ocean Beach. It is so much fun to do it, and you meet great people, and you get to talk about Unitarian Universalism and All Souls, and hopefully make lots of people know that there are faith communities that welcome everyone in the midst. So please sign up to help volunteer. That's everything. Thank you so much for being here as ever. Go in peace, and we will see you next week, which we are, All Souls is hosting the conclusion of Pride, which is the Pride Interfaith Service. Mark Robel, Reverend Mark Robel, is the preacher, and there are other guests. It's wonderful. It's going to be a wonderful service. So join us next week at 10 o'clock. Thanks again for being here.